Yeah, it is another episode of the Auto Win Bags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. And like I've said, every single post-game show of this entire season, this Raiders team is a lot of things. Boring ain't one of them. And like early in the third quarter, I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm excited. We're finally going to win a boring game. Oh, we're just going to win by 10 points. These Rams are decimated. We are just going to kind of a ho-hum, whatever win. Boring Thursday night football. Nope. Our Las Vegas Raiders found a way to lose to the devastated, gutted, Baker Mayfield on the team for 45 minutes, Los Angeles Rams, and fall 17-16. All I can do is laugh.
Yeah, I mean, from the middle of the first quarter, when we started going 3 and out and punting, I'm like, you know what? This doesn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this before. And then we got into the third quarter and we didn't do jack shit offensively. I'm like, you know what? This doesn't look good. I've seen this before. And yeah, I mean, any Raider fan who's been along here for any amount of time, they've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually a little bit relieved that we lost a game like this.
Pressure's off.
Not really the pressure's off. Is like now we're reminded of who we have on this team.
Mm-hmm.
We're reminded of where we need to make changes. Right? We're not victims of the moment. We're reminded of who's on this team and what changes we need to make to win games next year and beyond.
So the offensively, the game could not have started off better. Scored in back-to-back possessions, touchdown, field goal. And the offense did jack shit after that. Back-to-back possessions, and then could only scrounge up a field goal against a skeleton of a Rams defense. My whole let Josh Jacobs just do like 12 to 15 carries. You know, let him rest up a little bit. We should be able to piece this team apart passing. That went out the window. Josh Jacobs, 27 carries, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Derek Carr, 20 attempts, 11 completions, 137 yards, 2 INTs, and the last one being the game sealer when we had, 8 seconds left or whatever. But just a complete offensive collapse after a brilliant offensive start. Just night and day difference. 3 possessions, looking good. Completely took a dump.
Yeah, man. Again, it's easy to be a prisoner of the moment at the end and look at the last drive and be like, okay, that's why we lost. Dude, we should have won that game by 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And you're playing half of a starting secondary. You're playing, three quarters of the starting defensive line was out. Their best defensive player, their best player in general is out. And all I have to say is this. We know our defense is trash. We know our defense sucks. Am I surprised that we gave up a 98-yard drive to end the game when the team had no timeouts? No, I'm not.
After literally the perfect punt.
Yeah.
AJ Cole's punt. Oh my God. That AJ Cole punt was like, all right, 2-yard line. Yeah. Beautiful. No way they can drive this.
Am I surprised at that? No, it sucks. It's shitty. We've seen it happen. No, it sucks. Am I surprised that offense that has so much money given to it doesn't do anything basically for 3 quarters of a game? No, because we've seen this. We've seen this happen. We saw it happen in Arizona. We saw it happen against Jacksonville. We saw it happen against New Orleans. We've seen this happen. Raheem Morris, he was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons team that beat us like 45 to whatever a few years ago.
As bad as this collapse was, it's not even top 3 this season.
Yeah. So look,
that's how like this is like standard operating procedure for this team.
When you have a franchise quarterback and you have the league's leading rusher and you have one of, if not the best wide receiver in the league, offensively, it's inexcusable. That interception, that fucking slow pitch softball interception to end the first half, inexcusable.
He ran into his own dude and couldn't, and like,
and then just threw it like, meh.
He ran like he's stepping into the pocket, ran into his own. Was it Simpson? He ran into one of his own linemen, and he threw the ball into his own lineman, and it turned into a fucking duck.
If I can steal a line from Nate Diaz, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised. I don't think anybody on this chat should be surprised that this happened. And and this is the reason why I feel we need to make some very drastic changes personnel wise, because this is not, if you're not surprised that this happens on your offense, you need major changes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just saying Derek Carr. I think Josh McDaniels has got to fucking go too. But dude,
really?
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. You can't have this anymore. You can't have this against a team as decimated as the Rams were. You just can't have these types of games. And this is multiple games now. Multiple games this year. This franchise needs to take a step back, reset, and then move forward, because there is a lot wrong right now. And I am not defending Josh McDaniels. I am not defending Derek Carr. They both gotta go. They both gotta go. Because if you're a franchise quarterback, you're not going to give up this. You're not going to have multiple games like this season. You're just not. Okay? You're not going to get outplayed by a guy who fucking 3 days ago was third string with the Carolina Panthers, and then comes in here not fucking shaking hands to guys as he's completing passes to him, and have him outplay you. Forget the last drive. He outplayed Derek Carr in this game.
Baker Mayfield had that playbook for 45 minutes, and he went. Well, let's stick with our offense for a second, and then we'll get to their offense, our defense, right? So again, started out fantastic, right? Back to back, 3 in a row possessions, scoring. Could not do shit afterward. I get we lost some linemen. That's part of it. Josh Jacobs clearly injured his hand. That's
look.
That's part of it, right?
They got hurt, we start moving the ball before that.
My point being, it's another example of Josh McDaniels getting outcoached, too. It's a big part of it. You're rolling, right? Things were going well. You had a formula, and then that's the game of chess, right? Between McDaniels, Carr, the old line, the entire personnel.
McDaniels being outcoached.
There's no adjustments. Yeah, McDaniels, Carr, everybody. No adjustments.
Okay, I need you to say the words, because I manned up and I said the words. I need you to.
Carr played like shit, dude. Look at this. Look at this fucking line. 11 of 20.
Okay, that's now you said
yards,
it. Now you said
2 picks.
Now you
absolutely.
said it.
Absolutely.
Now you said it. I needed to hear you say it, RJ, because you like to beat around the bush a little bit. But now you said it. Very good. Okay, now I'm happy.
Yeah, it's a big picture thing, right? But Carr played like shit. I mean, you look at again, it's a cohesive unit issue, right? McDaniels called a terrible game. Carr played terrible. Couple linemen went down. The production of the line went down. You don't fail this bad against this decimated of a Rams team because of one person or one coach, right? It is a complete unit malfunction for this to happen, right? And so this is what I'm talking about, right? There's just this team just finds a way as a unit to shit the bed in unison. It's crazy. Josh Jacobs played he's immune to it. Josh Jacobs played his ass off one-handed, right? He's immune to it. Even Devontae Adams in multiple games this season just kind of fell apart. I still think he's the best receiver in football. He still is not immune to this. When this team falls apart, he's part of it. It's really only Josh Jacobs and Max Crosby that are immune to this team falling apart at the same time.
The issue that we're not talking about right now, and that we fell apart in 2019.
Mhm.
We fell apart in 2020.
Mhm.
There's a consistency there. Josh McDaniels wasn't here.
Mhm.
Okay. Winners win, losers lose. And the silver lining is we are all brought back to earth now. And we are all reminded of who we have on this team and who we have in this organization. And we can see it with clearer eyes. If you want to go out and say that the defense lost us this game, fine. Go right ahead. You're not my audience right now. I'm not looking to change anybody's mind. I'm looking to give you a little bit of seed so you can start thinking.
You're giving that seed.
Who was the quarterback?
You gonna impregnate them with your take?
Yeah. Who was the quarterback in 2019 when we shit the bed? Who was the quarterback in 2020 when we shit the bed at the end of the season? Who shit the bed 4 times at least this season for large stretches of games? The inconsistency is what I've been saying all along. The peaks are great. And if you want to talk about the peaks, yeah, man, the peaks are awesome. But the lows are too often. You can't have this many bad games that cost your team. We needed 2 first downs the last drive. That's it. We didn't even need to score. 2 first downs, and we couldn't do shit. We went 3 and out, I think 3 or 4 times in the second half. We were like going 3 and out, going back and forth and back and forth. This is it should just be a calming reminder of what we need to do.
So it's a weird situation because there's no way Mark Davis is firing Josh McDaniels this season, money-wise. Not going to happen, right? Whatever amount of like guarantees that he has in his contract and that hasn't been made public, he's not going to pay John Gruden, Josh McDaniels, and a new head coach next season. Because if he fires Josh McDaniels, he's going to owe him guarantees. Whatever settlement he made with John Gruden, the last 7 years of a $100 million contract, he didn't just write a $70 million contract, right? Like he's still paying John Gruden, right? So currently, right now, Mark Davis is paying John Gruden, Josh McDaniels, and next season, if he fires Josh McDaniels, he's going to be paying both those guys and a new head coach, right? Josh McDaniels ain't going. So moving forward, the only logical path moving forward, like take the emotions out of it, right? Like we're pissed at him. We're pissed at a lot of players just falling apart, right? After a 10-win playoff season, we get this, right? Logistically, logically, the only thing to do is to embrace the Josh McDaniels system and hope that just time can fix it. Because what's the alternative? He's not going anywhere. He's not leaving.
Yeah, he has
Mark
at least
Davis,
one more year.
He's in at least one more year, right? Mark Davis isn't firing him. Not going to happen. Like economically, it's not happening. So the only logical choice for this locker room is to embrace Josh McDaniels, embrace Patrick Graham, and hope that just time can fix these wounds. On the player side, right? Personnel's different, right? Just player side, fan side. That's all you can do because he's not going anywhere. Sam A, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Called it early. Check the first comment. Okay. Let's check the first comment. At 8:02 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is what Sam A sent us. We're going to lose 17-16, and it's Carr's fault, of course. Carr shit the bed big time. We'll get back to Carr. Let's get to our defense for a second, too. It's an undeniable fact. If the pass rush doesn't get there, we'll make any quarterback in the NFL look like a prime Steve Young. If the pass rush doesn't get there, every quarterback is going to look like a prime Steve Young. Baker fucking Mayfield who had that playbook for 45 minutes, led a 98-yard touchdown drive against this defense because the pass rush didn't get there.
Yeah, man. It's shitty. It's a shitty feeling. And the worst part is every time that we maybe got one first down or 3 and out and weren't clicking on offense anymore, I got this sinking feeling like we don't have enough points. They can come back. You know, that interception at the end of the first half was fucking huge. You're in the red zone, man. Don't throw it unless you're sure. You got a 2-score lead. You know, it's just it's everything, man.
And even like Nate Hobbs gave up big plays, like Webb was picked apart.
No, I get it, man. I get it. We didn't play well in spots for most players, but ultimately, I go back to it. You give all this money to your offense. You're supposed to have a franchise quarterback. He can't do this, man. He can't do this multiple times a year. He can't disappear for whole halves at a time, multiple times.
What percentage of this loss do you put on Derek?
I don't know, man. I can't answer that. I can't answer that. Yeah. What I do know is this: I have 4 losses that I can attribute to him directly, and he's 25% ball in his hand to end the game to win games. I don't count this one. I'm not going to count this one. There's only 10 seconds left. But 3 minutes to go, ball in hand.
Can we talk about the defense without you bringing up Carr for a few minutes?
Sure.
We'll get back to Carr. Trust me. I got plenty to say on Carr.
Wait,
this defense needs to be addressed. Fucking an obliterated offense without the starting quarterback, without your 2 best wide receivers, missing linemen, multiple, like 4 starting linemen are on IR. I think that's the number, 4 or 5.
Yeah, man.
I think it's 5 linemen on IR. I don't know how many of them are starting. And they were able to orchestrate a 98-yard, like 2 or like a minute 30 touchdown drive to win the game. What in the actual fuck?
Yeah. You know, a couple of stupid penalties.
Yeah.
A couple of stupid penalties, but
really stupid penalty. Knocking the ball out of a player's hand. Like, the drive's over.
I mean, normally that wouldn't have been a penalty, but since it's under 2 minutes, it's like
because
no, it's under 2 minutes, and you know, you're knocking the ball out so they can't spot it. You know, like a almost like a delay a game type of thing. But again, it should have never gotten to that point, and that's what we have to keep focused on. That it should have never gotten to that point.
I was pretty proud when was it the second quarter when the crowd got so loud that Baker Mayfield had to call a timeout in Los Angeles? I was proud.
Yeah, whatever.
You gotta find silver. I know you know. I'm Mr. Optimistic. You're Mr. Pessimistic. I had to find a silver lining.
I mean, I'm not Mr. Pessimistic. How can I be optimistic about this game?
Can't you enjoy that an away crowd cost him a timeout? Take 4 seconds of your night.
These are things we know, RG. These are things we know. Things we know. We know that we're going to have just as many fans, if not more fans than Ram fans there. We know that. We know our defense is shitty. That's why we have to keep scoring. You know, we know that we have all this money involved into our offense and we have to keep scoring more. Our defense, I honestly gave up 17 points. You give up 17 points in the NFL, you should win.
Well, I mean, this is the trashiest offense we're going to face. And again, I'm not trying to give the offense an excuse. It was offense should have scored 35 against this team, right? The defense shouldn't have given up 10 against this offense. The starting quarterback who had the playbook for 45 minutes. And that's my point, is no one's off the hook, right? Carr shit the bed, and if you're the starting quarterback, you're the franchise quarterback, you carry more responsibility than anybody, right? Also, play calling started to fall apart. Defense just let this unit of scrubs and scrap heaps and randoms who've been together for as long as this show's been on.
Yeah. King 85 with a $5 super chat. It actually, this is what I was echoing what I said earlier today. This loss was good. That way you don't go into next season with an inflated opinion of the team, which is what we did this year.
I think we had a proper opinion of this team from the offseason. I don't think any of us it wasn't unfair to be optimistic about this team this offseason.
Thanks, King 85, for the super chat. Appreciate it.
You're the man. The preseason hype for this team was in a good spot. I felt like it was accurate, right? 10-win team, playoffs, and roster-wise, better. Being optimistic about this team wasn't wrong.
It was.
I mean, clearly it was wrong.
It was
a record.
It was ambitious, considering the fact that we had a totally new system come in, and knowing how our quarterback does with first-year systems and stuff like that. Doesn't excuse some of the losses that we've had because, during those games we moved the ball well. It's just we have to take a look, and I hope everyone can understand right now that I'm trying to be like, hey guys, this is not the end of the world. We weren't going to make the playoffs anyway. Like, it's hard to win games in the NFL, especially when one of your players your main players is wildly inconsistent. Let's see here. Sam A with another $2 super chat. Thanks, Sam. You prefer 5-12 or 8-9? Oh, I prefer 5-12 all day. I prefer 5-12 all day. I want to get that high pick. 8-9. You don't want to be 8-9. 7, 8, 9 wins. You don't want that because you're not going to make the playoffs more than likely, and you're going to get an out of the top 10, 12 pick.
It's a catch-22, right? Because I keep thinking of like the Eagles, right? Last season, trash. Start out awful. But they found their stroke about 2/3 into the season. And so they were playing well, winning games when the season was over. It meant nothing. Like, you're not making the playoffs. You're not going to win the Super Bowl. What's the point? But they found their stroke as a team that carried on into the offseason, carried into this season. And now they're the number one team in football. And that's my point, is that's all we have. Because Josh McDaniels isn't going anywhere. The economics says so, right? Mark Davis is not going to be paying 3 different head coaches next season. 2 that don't work there and 1 that does. It ain't happening. So the only possible move forward is to embrace Josh McDaniels, embrace Patrick Graham, and hope that everyone gets it. And then we'll decide who stays and goes this offseason. That's the only move.
Yeah. JR the Barbarian, a $5 super chat. Thanks, JR. Appreciate it. What do you think about Tillery's foul? Also love the show. Keep up the great work, fellas. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, dude.
You're the man, JR.
It's
your first name's backwards, but you're a good guy, JR.
He's the bizarro world you. So he's actually a nice guy.
He's JR the Barbarian. I'm RJ the Sophisticant. Because
is that what it is?
Inverted. What movie is that from? We were inverted.
Yeah, it's a penalty. You can't do that.
Stupid.
It's a dumb one. It's a lame one, dumb one, but yeah, it's a penalty.
You get it. Like, you get all jacked up, right? You're in the middle of like a drive like that, big play, and So I got kind of a feeling that that's kind of how Tillery is, because he's clearly not pure skill-wise, pure athlete-wise. Tillery generally isn't a guy you just let off your team. Maybe he's not starting, maybe he's in the rotation, kind of a contributing kind of guy, but you don't let a guy like that go purely athletically and purely production-wise. There's some there, right? I think this is a reason why the Chargers let him go. Things like this. I think that's an insight into the personality that Tillery has that hopefully he can kind of correct in a quality locker room. But who knows? Like, you are who you are, right? And I think this is the best example of a player whose talent is higher than what a team is willing to sacrifice to have him on there. And I think that's why we have Tillery on our. That's why he was a free agent. That's why we picked him up off of fucking waivers, and he's still contributing because of kind of things like this.
David Knowles, the players lost that game with all the penalties in the end. Again, should it have gotten to that point? Should have gotten to that point. I understand what you're saying. And,
Raiders, 7 penalties, 94 yards. Rams, also 7 for 60 yards.
I think we have to take a look at the bigger picture here. Yeah, the defense was not good. For a large part of the game, the defense was fine. But again, when you don't move the ball offensively and you put your defense on the field, a defense who's not good anyway, but a defense who's playing well, you're getting them back on the field over and over and over and over again. They get tired.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got a tired defense who isn't great anyway. You spoil a good defensive effort.
Josh Jacobs left the game with what looked like a hand injury. So I was watching the game. So the first quarter, I watched the game on my phone. I was stage managing the press conference for the UFC. The last 3 quarters, I was watching at a bar. And so I didn't have the sound on anytime. So I didn't know what happened with Josh Jacobs. Did they say anything specific about Josh Jacobs? Because he left, looked like a hand injury, went into the tunnel, went in the locker room, came back. He made that stiff arm, I think in the third quarter, where he clearly was doing this. He was holding it weird.
Yeah.
It looks like a broken hand to me. And that's going to be missed. That's going to be missed time.
Yeah. I think it was a finger. He got they taped his pinky, and then they taped his pinky to his ring finger.
Mm.
So I think it might be a broken finger.
That's IR. And this is why, everyone who's not in Raider Nation that was completely shocked that we didn't pick up Josh McDaniels' 5th-year option. How could you not do that? He's so good. I don't get it. Look at his production. So, because all of us in Raider Nation know he gets hurt every year. And that's the reason why. If he goes to IR, it's like... And again, that doesn't mean we won't pick him up again, right? He's the leading rusher in the NFL. Leading rusher. And with this line. Clearly he's special. But you're asking why it's such a no-brainer to give him his 5th-year extension. It's no, it's not a no-brainer. He gets hurt every year in a different part of his body.
You see Charles Woodson's tweet?
No, what did he say?
It's a picture of him face palming. Mm-hmm. And it says, "Really, Raiders? I'm going to bed."
What's more embarrassing, this one or the Colts loss?
This one.
Yeah.
Because the Colts got players back.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I don't think the Colts loss is that wacky.
It's super wacky. Jeff Saturday lost a high school football game the weekend before.
Just
and lost an
wait
NFL
a second.
Game.
He didn't win that game. He showed up, and the offensive coordinator ran the offense, and the defensive coordinator ran the defense.
An offensive coordinator who had the job for 2 days.
Okay, look, this guy wasn't working at fucking Wendy's, and then they fucking put him. He with the team the entire time.
He's no Sean McVay.
Okay, and they got their starting quarterback back, and they got their running back back. So basically, they got their offense back. Okay, this team had a quarterback who was 3rd string on the Carolina Panthers behind J.P. Walker and Sam Darnold. All right, 3 days ago, they didn't have their top 2 receivers.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have
the best defensive player in football.
3/4 of their defensive line. They didn't have half of their secondary. And they had a quarterback who was shaking hands to people as he was passing the ball to them. Mm-hmm. This is more embarrassing, much more embarrassing.
It's primetime game too. I mean, I'm getting text messages and tweets from people who barely watch football, but because it's primetime, they're like, "Oh, what's happening? What's going on here?"
David Knowles. It hurts to love this team. They like a bad bitch. Yeah.
Come on, baby, make it hurt so good.
And he said, Neil Buckeye, Carbage isn't a franchise quarterback. I don't think he should be our franchise quarterback anymore. I think it's time to move on. I think this reminded us of. It's like when you see your ex-girlfriend and she's like, damn, she's looking kind of good, you know, and she comes over and you guys talk and like, hey man, like you look good, you know. It's been a few years. How have you been? Yeah, this and that. Da, da, da. You start talking, everything seems fine. Hey, you get a new number? Cool. Let me get you a new number. And then she calls you in the middle of the night drunk, talking some shit about, you know, how she got into a fight with some guy at a bar. You're like, okay, this is why. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reminded now. Thank you very much. And this is what we're reminded of today. This is what you're accepting with Derek Carr as your quarterback. He's going to give you these games, and this is the fourth one this year that I can count.
Can you believe that Devontae Adams made this catch?
That was fucking amazing, dude.
One-handed, literally blinded. Literally. This DB is just like hand like halfway into his face mask. One-handed grab.
It's crazy, man.
Shit's beautiful.
Yeah, it's he's a special talent, man. He's a special player. He has his money. It's, you know, I see a lot of changes coming up. I RJ likes to joke around.
You either laugh or cry as a Raider fan. Those are two options.
It's the polarizing thing. One guy takes
you laugh or cry
one,
as a Raider
one
fan.
time.
That's all you got.
One side takes one stance, another guy takes another stance. In this respect, there was three of us, so then RJ took the middle. I was willing to erase my memory and give Josh McDaniels a fair chance. I said, you know what? What he's saying in the press conference, it sounds good. I've been there myself where I got a position too early and I didn't do well, and I did better the second time, the third time around.
Time out. You didn't give him a fair chance. You said, he's the guy, let's get jacked. I said, let's give him a fair chance. I said, I have some reservations, but you know, like
okay, you're already going, oh, here we go.
Oh yeah. So does girlfriend's back in the chat.
Mega Duck. This is not my girlfriend. The girlfriend was the actual girl.
I'm sorry, this is your boyfriend.
No, stop. See, look, this is what you're doing, RJ. You're just lying right now. This is not my girlfriend. The person who was texting me was an actual girl's name with a girl's picture. This is the bot.
So you've been catfished twice instead of just once.
How am I catfished by this one? I always know what this one was.
I'm telling you, I'm still saying I feel this bot is more in danger of you giving them an STD than them giving you one.
Oh, that's 100%.
Yeah. Just spitting hot fire.
Hottest.
Out of your dick.
Whoa, what's going on in the freaking things here? Javier Collin is coming up with the heat.
McDaniels sucks big dicks. And that's not a sex bot. I think that's a person.
Yeah, look at what he said before that. Oof. We're not going to put that up there.
No? Let me see.
It's like 3 up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right?
See, we don't censor.
We're very emotional.
We're not Twitter. We don't censor political takes.
Fuck both y'all bitches. Yeah, fuck us. We're just sitting here making content for you, Javier. You fucking chode.
So long week coming up, right? Thank God. Or actually, it's kind of worse. Now I have to wallow in this for an extra 3 days. I still say the path is the same this season. Just try to embrace the schemes. Try to figure out the game. Try to figure out the coaches. Coaches try to figure out your players. That's all you can do. That's the only productive move you can make right this second.
And I think that's what we were doing because we had some changes on the defense. Offensively, I think we knew where we were. And that's what we've been doing. I just think that, we beat a couple of decent teams the last couple of weeks.
2 teams win records back to back.
Yeah.
And yet can't lose to, and yet we can. Is it safe to say that the Colts when we played them and the Rams that we played them were the 2 worst teams in football at the time?
Yeah, this is a terrible team. This is a bad team.
I think the Colts when we played them and the Rams tonight on paper, we're the two worst teams in football. We found a way to lose to them both.
Oh, sorry.
Omar, thanks for the super chat, buddy. I said we shouldn't have traded for Adams because our team sucks from top to bottom, and this is
And this way, Jade.
And this is way Jay said, tank. We are not winning the Super Bowl anytime soon. So
this is why I said tank, probably.
I hate the notion, the gibberish, the comment. Well, we're not one player away from winning the Super Bowl, so why are we doing that? Yeah, no shit. If you're 8 players away from winning the Super Bowl, you got to start somewhere. So you start with 1, and then you get 2, and then you get 3, and then you get to 8, you win the Super Bowl. So this whole idea of like, oh, well, I don't know why they traded for Devontae because we're one player away from winning the Super Bowl. He's made this team exponentially better.
Yeah, if we didn't have him, we would be shit offensively.
He's the best player in our offense, arguably the best wide receiver in football. You're telling me the first and second round draft picks would have gotten this year would be better than Devontae Adams? No. You build player by player. We're not one player away from winning the Super Bowl. Okay, so you're gonna wait until you do a 20-player trade? Like that. That's not how it works. You have the best wide receiver in football begging to play for the Raiders with his college teammate. You do it.
Do it.
You do it.
Yeah, tanking doesn't guarantee we're going to win next season either. Now, there's a different dynamic going on here that I did not realize, okay? Bo Gagrius says, that was bad, fellas. I'd feel bad for you, but fuck the Raiders for giving the Rams a win. Lions wanted a top 3 pick, you assholes, as a Lions fan.
Soto has a bad Gagrius from his boyfriend.
RJ has no Gagrius. He can take down that kielbasa, no problem.
Years of experience. Sam A, thanks for the super chat, buddy. Man, am I glad I didn't drink tonight. That makes one of us. That's why I'm literally drinking water right now so I can kind of get my shit together for the show.
I was going to drink after the game. I was going to drink, but I was like, you know what? I have to be level-headed. I can't fucking blow up anymore. I have to put out better content. And, yeah, man. It's look, guys, I understand what you guys want to say. But the thing is we have a history of doing this, a recent history of doing this, and we have an out. Let's just reset and move forward because we can't just keep throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Do you watch the UFC weigh-in shows? They're early, so
I try not to.
Yeah, because
I don't.
Quality stage manager.
Yeah, no, so, I do. I do it sometimes. Like when there's like a fight that I really want to see, I'll watch it.
So last show in Madison Square Garden, the weigh-in show, they kept giving me shit because it was like 2 or 3 weeks after the Saints had shut up the Raiders.
God. So fucking DC is
and Daniel Cormier is a Saints fan, so they're like trying to give me shit for like a game that was like 2 or 3 weeks prior, right? Our weigh-in shows tomorrow. Our weigh-in shows in 10 hours. 12 hours. It's in 12 hours. And my executive producer's already sending me texts. Like it's going to be a bloodbath tomorrow. It's going to be bad. Yeah, it's going to be a bloodbath, which makes no sense. It was a 5-7 team. Okay, we lost. Like, okay.
Okay, look. You lost. You lost to a team with 1/5 of their starting offensive line, and their top 2 targets gone. Starting quarterback gone. Their quarterback was a third stringer 2 days ago.
So here's the thing. The actual producer, the line producer of that show, is a Broncos fan. He's a Broncos fan. That's the one guy who can't talk shit on the Raiders, right? The executive producer is a Patriots fan. And so that's still up in the air, right? Like there's still like pending litigation as the season rolls forward. Johnny Gons, thank you for the super chat. I assume that means it's like insert question here when you leave it blank.
He actually said this later.
Oh.
So do I wear a paper bag or the Tecate 30 pack box? And I said, as long as it's the Tecate Light, because you know the
Like our
implications of
performance.
someone drinking
Tecate
Tecate Light.
Light. Omar, thank you so much for the big super chat. It's about the salary cap, man. You built to the draft. When has Belichick ever traded that much for anything ever? Adams will have stats but no rings. If we were like the Rams, then yes, trade for him. Look, I get what you're saying. And that's what we've been preaching forever, right? You treat players and draft picks like commodities, not like human beings. They are mutual funds. And that's the proper way to build a team. And Devontae Adams is like buying Bitcoin in 2011. Like, he has produced. He's making this team so much better, and so much better than whatever first and second round draft pick we picked up. So it's not like we swung and missed. It's not Chandler Jones. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't blow it. Like, this. Dave Ziegler has had a lot of fuck ups on this team, right? Paying Darren Waller too early, bringing in Chandler Jones. Let's give him credit where credit is due. He had a grand slam with Devontae Adams. Now, it fell in his lap. Like, Devontae wanted to come here, but he made a good deal, executed it, and he should have rightful credit for it. Like, this is a good move.
Is that what that is?
No, it's pussy juice.
Oh, you see, Mike Linton, you're wrong.
It's pussy juice. I think it's the lighting, which is why my beard doesn't look quite as full and it looks kind of patchy. It's clearly the lighting.
It's patchy anyway, bro.
No. It's just the lighting. Definitely the lighting. It has nothing to do with anything else.
Okay.
The lighting in the New York hotel and casino is kind of shitty. That has to be what it is. No other reason makes sense. All right, well, let's wrap it up. I think we've is old ass Soto crying again. Have you ever cried on air with us? I don't think you have. You?
I think he's confusing me for your boyfriend, Derek Carr.
Now the Raiders are what, 3-1 after Derek Carr cried? The streak's coming to an end.
You gotta cry again. He's gonna cry in the car.
If he cries again and we go on another 3-game win streak, something's up.
Right? Oh man. Uh-oh. Dutch Master 710. RJ is going to say he actually didn't. He said that car sucked ass.
I'm the one objective person when it comes to car. Scoto's the one that turns everything into a car conversation. I'm like, hey, can we talk about the defense? Can we talk about the defense for like 45 seconds? You're like, well, the offense never produced points. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, the defense gave up 17 points, bro.
Yeah,
the defense gave up 17
to an offense that shouldn't have scored more than 3.
Well, if you look, let's take a look at your formula. As long as they give up 120% of their average for the year or less,
right?
And as long as we score 150% or more,
this game dropped a nuke into my formula I wrote out. Just dropped a fucking nuclear bomb on the whole thing.
Yeah, because dude, it's situational, man. It's situational, and we didn't play good situational football our last possession, or I guess like second to last possession. We needed 2 first downs, man.
I didn't hear the broadcast. Did they explain Waller or Hunter?
Nope, they didn't explain.
No mention, anything. Nothing.
Nothing I heard.
No one said anything. So did I bring it up yet? I was watching the first quarter on the Amazon app on my phone.
Yeah, on your phone, and then you went to a bar.
I went to a bar. They have this thing on the Amazon app on your phone where after that first Josh Jacobs touchdown, during commercial break, the app like popped up a lower third. And it's like, do you want to watch the touchdown again? And it's like mid-commercial. I'm like, okay. Clicked it, and it gave another replay of the Josh Jacobs touchdown. Mid-commercial, which, like, I work in TV production. You never, ever cut the advertiser short. During the commercial on Amazon Prime, they're like, hey, let's just rewatch this touchdown. And I did it. It was like, it's like 10 seconds. It only showed one replay. It didn't show multiple angles. But I thought that was super cool. It's like, well, like while you're in commercial, you can go back and rewatch that lost touchdown. Have you seen that before?
I have not.
I'd never seen that before. Amazon Prime's doing some kind of cool shit.
I can't. I'm just.
You're too wrapped up in the loss.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty
Who's
bummed.
the MVP tonight for the Raiders? Who played the best? Jacobs? Max?
I mean, Jacobs played well. He didn't have a lot of running holes to get. He got 99 yards. Max probably played really well. Chandler Jones played pretty good. Yeah, I would say probably Jones or Max or Jacobs.
I have this sinking feeling that Jacobs is going to be on IR. And then we're kind of right back to where we started from, right? Like, yeah, Josh Jacobs is awesome, amazing, but he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, and it's what it is. You know, and that's why the season is as long as it is. Oh, that's funny.
We could try. If we get an Amazon Prime deal,
if we get an Amazon Prime deal, we're gonna have all kinds of shit.
Yeah, we'll have Bezos think some cool shit up
in space.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Bezos is pretty jacked. Have you seen him?
No.
He's all TRT'd out.
It's because he's single now.
He's all TRT'd up.
He just gave $40 billion to his ex, so he's just like jacked up.
He's got he got stem cells in his fucking dick stem.
Is that a thing, do you think? Stem cells in your dick stem?
Stem cells in your stem?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You should try. See what happens. Report back.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go to fucking Nicaragua to get fucking stem cells in my fucking stem. Thank you.
You don't have to. You just go to Tijuana.
Well, oh, yeah, that's right, right? You forget what Joe Rogan's boy down there in Tijuana.
Endless.
I'm tired.
Yeah, you sound tired. Yeah, well, lucky for you, you get to just go to bed. I got to do some editing. All right, final score: Rams 17, Raiders 16. When it's only arguably the worst loss of the season, you know it's been that kind of season.
Yeah.
But a lot of big shit. So we have a lot to get to. Like even like not even play, but the Athletic is reporting how the Gruden emails were released by the Washington Commanders. We got to get into that. There's what was this thing? Oh, your boy, who's the Pro Football Talk guy? Florio.
Yeah, fuckface Florio.
Florio had some shit to say that we got to address. He almost got like talked down from his stance. So a lot to get to, even like not on the field, like obviously field stuff to get to, but not on the field stuff as well. We'll do a show between now and our main show next week because it was a Thursday night game since we don't, have our regular like Sunday post game show. So we'll mix some shit in. But yeah. The Raiders are a lot of things. Boring.
But winners is not one of them.
Winner's not one of them, and boring is not one of them. That's it for now. Until then, next time, knock on wood if you're with me.